Towards the end of this week's parasha, the Torah addresses the case of a person who became impoverished and as a result sold himself as an eved, a servant, to a non-Jewish master. The Torah writes regarding such a person, Acharei nimkar, geulati elo, after he is sold, he shall be granted redemption. Echad me'achav yigalenu, one of his relatives must redeem him. The Gemara in Kiddushin on Daf Chaf Amud Bet notes that the Torah emphasizes that this Eved's relatives must work towards redeeming him from servitude, even though he may bear some responsibility for his own predicament. Since he went ahead and became a minister for idolatry, should a stone be thrown after a falling man? That's why the pasuk says, "Geulat tielo," he shall be granted redemption, despite the fact that the servant acted wrongly by selling himself into the service of a non-Jew, an idolater, which amounts to becoming that komer l'avodah zarah, that minister for idolatry. His family nevertheless bears the obligation to free him from his current predicament. They must not allow him to continue falling away from the Jewish community. They may not allow him to have that stone pushed after him. Rabbi Yehuda Leib Ginsburg, in his Yalkut Yehuda, comments that the Torah here urges sensitivity to the plight of the impoverished individual that led him to such drastic measures. He notes that financial hardship often leads a person to desperation, which in turn results in rash and severe conduct. Rabbi Ginsburg fought against this in his time as a Rav in America in the 40s and 50s in Denver, where he encountered many Jewish people who, because of financial hardships, made decisions that led them into lifestyles that were non-halachic, chose out of financial need to work on Shabbat. It was a desperation, which resulted in severe wrong conduct. And thus, while this servant, the one the Torah speaks about, certainly bears a degree of responsibility of guilt for his decisions, that guilt is mitigated by the dire straits that clouded his judgment. And that's the reason the Torah instructs the family to deal kindly and sensitively towards this person, redeem him from the Gentile master as quickly as possible. And it is also explained, Rav Ginsburg, the reason we need to have a greater measure of understanding for people who have done things because they feel they had no choice, even if they had done things that were significantly against the Torah. Nevertheless, Geulat tielo, he shall be granted redemption. We need to help that person, our fellow Jew, have a second chance. It's a lesson that bears repeating, a lesson that we can learn from a situation we can't even imagine ourselves, but one that we encounter in so many variations in the world around us. Always try to understand the person who made the decisions that may be very, very difficult at first for them, but were ones that they made because they felt they had no choice.